Hey everybody, welcome to episode 23. I had to look, I forgot what episode we're on. Of the Evangelion Rewatch podcast. My name is still David.
And I am still Dylan.
Unless you're joining us for the first time. And then my name is David for the first time. So, episode 23, we just watched it. Sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained because the Eva short just came out and I was just, like, my mindset was thinking about it, and now I'm switching back over to the episode, so it's a little weird. So episode 23, first of all, again, you know, we're watching the director's cut, of course. Something interesting about this one, there's not a lot of changes from the director's cut to the on-air version.
Yeah, I just saw minor notes.
Yeah, we can get into that a little bit once we start talking about the episode, but I just thought that was kind of interesting that there's not much different. But whatever, I guess. So this episode opens up, we actually have an opening again, because, again, there's not a ton of extra stuff here, so there was time for an opening, I guess. And we see Misato is playing Kaji's message over and over and over. You know, trying to still cope with everything that happened, and, you know, he's dead and all that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that seems pretty self-explanatory, I guess. We cut to I will say the whole episode starts out like so. Sorry, I had to burp. It's so depressing and like somber.
Mm-hmm.
There's no happy moments at the beginning of this episode.
Is there happy moments at all in the entire episode? Really, I feel like it's all.
Well, not really, but it's just interesting because like, you know, even though the show hasn't always been the happiest thing, there's always been like sad moments, but like, it just keeps cutting to every character separately, and each of them is like having their own crisis, in their own way, and that's interesting. So we cut to, I forgot, we actually do see, I said last time that it was the last time we would ever see the class rep, but she's back in action. Hikari, my favorite character, don't know her last name. I had to even think to remember her first name. But she's back. She's housing Asuka, because Asuka doesn't want to stay with Shinji and Misato, because they all share the same bathwater, like fucking gross animals. So Asuka's hanging out there to try to, you know, so she's got a lot of shit going on, and I guess, I mean, Asuka, you know, hasn't really made any friends or connections with people.
Not really.
And despite their bizarre relationship, I would say that she's probably, honestly, the closest with Shinji. But, of course, she can't stay with him or open up to him, so she's gone to, I guess, the next best thing, which is this girl she's hung out with a couple of times at school. I guess it's the closest thing she has to a girlfriend. So Asuka's kind of hiding out there, playing Sega Genesis all day. I believe that's a Genesis.
I had a CD. CD was...
Oh, did it have a CD?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Then it must be... What's the... I never had the Sega CD. It's called the Sega CD,
Sega CD,
it?
yeah.
But, well, they had another one, too. Was the Master Drive disc-based, or was that cartridge?
I can't remember. I immediately thought Sega CD because it had, like, that blank disc with stuff writing on it. I remember that's what...
Oh, okay. I didn't notice that. I just saw the controller, and I thought it looked like the Genesis controller.
Wasn't the TV even a Sega TV? I didn't even know
it was.
Sega TVs.
Yes, but this episode brought to you by Sega. Not doing so well now, but...
Rest in peace.
Yep. But anyways, so yeah, Asuka's just kind of trying to distract herself. What game do you think she's playing? I never played
it said
Sega
I think
CD
it said something fighting on the disc is what it seemed like.
Oh, fighting game. I guess that makes sense. The only Sega CD game I know is Sonic CD. Is it called Sonic CD? It's some Sonic game with Metal
She
Sonic.
was playing Winning Fighter.
There's different. Like. You can find that.
I think so. That's what the CD said. Of course, I guess the CD's outside.
Oh, okay. You saw the CD.
She's not playing it. Maybe I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if the CD is out, I'm saying she's playing Sonic CD.
Probably.
She's traveling through time. I think you travel through time in that game. I don't know. Join us next week where we do a rewatch of Sonic CD.
Isn't Puyo? That's a real game, isn't it?
Yes, Puyo Puyo. I did see that one. I believe it is. Because I know there was a game I think it just came out in Japan called Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Tetris? Yeah, that's right.
So that's some kind of thing.
That's something.
Anyways, back to Evangelion. So, I mean, you know, this is relevant to Evangelion. We got to get it figured out. What game she's playing is super important to her character. It's important to what happens later.
Because it's ironic, because the game that's now is called Winning Fighter, and she's a losing fighter.
Yeah, see, there you go. That's symbolism for you. That's, irony.
Brought to you by Sega.
Brought to you by Sega. Irony is sponsored by Sega. So... They decide to go to bed, and Asuka opens up to Hikari, which, you know, Asuka opening up is always unique, especially to this girl, but she doesn't really have anybody else to open up to. And I mean, Asuka's she hates herself more than anything, so she really can't even admit stuff to herself. So she's found another person to kind of say stuff to. And, Asuka is having a full-on existential crisis. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to live for. Sorry, my phone's ringing somewhere in my house if you hear it ringing. But, Asuka's, like, kind of... she's lost her entire purpose and goal in life. And Hikari still has the mindset, of a kid, I would say. Whereas Asuka's, like, starting to face the realm of adulthood and the realization of what comes with that territory. Hikari hasn't thought about these things. So she just... has no concept of what Asuka's going through or what to say to it. That's something that everybody goes through at some point, and like some people go through it earlier. So if you go through that point in your life where you have to figure out like the bigger elements of life,
there's like so much noise going on your side. Right
now. That's my phone's ringing. Hang on. So sorry everybody. My phone started ringing. Like I said, my home phone was ringing, and then it was my mom trying to call me, and then my cell phone started ringing because.
We went on a tangent about Sega, and then now a tangent on phones. This podcast just fucked so far.
Yeah, hell yeah. Anyways, if anyone's wondering, my mom said it was cold outside, so she reminded me that if I left to wear a jacket because she doesn't understand I'm 24. I know it's cold. I guess it's kind of relevant to the conversation we're having about realizing you're an adult and growing up. Realizing you need to wear a coat, I think, goes to that territory. But anyway, so Hikari doesn't really, know how to respond to Asuka because these are things she's never thought about. And like, when somebody comes and talks to you about like, I don't think there's any purpose in my life. Yeah. I mean, it's always going to be hard to respond to that. Like, you don't know what they've experienced. You don't know what they're dealing with. So Hikari doesn't say anything except after.
I feel like Hikari is kind of a good person to talk to about in a way, though. Because Asuka kind of already says what everybody's been speculating, She feels, since she lost, she has no purpose anymore kind of thing. Yeah. But Hikari's kind of like, I'm pretty sure she lost both her parents, and she's being an adult already to her younger sisters.
Yeah, I guess maybe
that was the mindset of kind of going to her as well, as like, well, she's
that makes sense, yeah.
She's probably the most adult kid she knows.
I guess that's true. In a way, that does make sense, but I do think that there is a difference between having the responsibilities of an adult and realizing the broadness of life as an adult. Right. Because it's one thing, it definitely would like mature you a lot. Because same thing with Toji, like it matures somebody a lot to have these responsibilities for somebody at 14. But it's a whole other thing to realize like what's the purpose in life, what's the meaning of everything. Like that's a whole other thing. So Asuka's going through one stage of adulthood, and Hikari's kind of I guess it's different. There are different points, but they definitely have gone through a lot. But so Hikari responds with, Asuka says that she has nothing left to do, and Hikari says like, you can do anything. I think you've done your best, and it's honestly like really, even though Hikari I don't think is as advanced, it's really good advice. Like it's very simple, but it's just like, that was one thing in your life. You did your best at it, but you can do anything else. Like you don't have to allow your life to be dictated by one thing. Exactly. You have the capability to do anything. Because if you do shove your existence into one single thing and it fails, then you've made your existence kind of pointless. So you need to make sure that you have multiple things going for you. Then we cut to Ritsuko and her cat died. Yeah. I was thinking about it, and I say every episode that I don't like Ritsuko. We saw last week everything that Asuka's gone through in her life. We've seen that Misato has gone through a lot. She lost her father and is confused about that. Now she's lost Kaji. Shinji's gone through a lot. The brunt of Ritsuko, like her betrayal and her deciding to go dark and like do all the shit, is that her cat died. Cool.
I don't know if that's the deciding factor of betrayal, but I mean,
it's definitely a big step in it. I feel like, because it's right next to all these other scenes of these characters.
I was gonna say, that's the only other explanation, I guess, because otherwise that scene is like so pointless. There's nothing to do with anything.
Yeah. Again, why would you put that scene in there if it wasn't important to the character? Because it's literally like she's dealing with this death, and Ritsuko didn't have any kids. She doesn't have any men or anything in her life except for Gendo, but so she kind of has nothing. Really, all she has is her cat, and her cat died. So I guess that, the same way like we were saying with Asuka, like don't shove all your life into one thing. Ritsuko put all of her life into her cat, and her cat died. Yeah. It's just, obviously, I'm exaggerating a bit. I know that's not the only thing that Ritsuko is going off of, but it definitely seems like it's one of those things.
It's there. It's a reason.
It's definitely a motivator, and I just think it's such a shitty motivator. Fuck Ritsuko. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to that scene. So then we see a scene of SEELE talking to... no, this is just SEELE... I can't remember. I'm getting my scenes mixed up. I think this is just when SEELE is talking, or are they talking to Gendo already? I don't.
They're just talking to Gendo.
Yeah, they're talking to Gendo because they get interrupted because an angel shows up. Yeah. But they're talking about Gendo, you fucked up. We don't have the lance now. You've been a bad boy, and then Fuyutsuki calls and says there's an angel, so Gendo has to leave.
Yeah.
And they talk about like maybe Gendo won't work for us anymore.
Yeah.
Which is that such a fucking empty threat? Like, what else are you gonna do? Like, who else are you gonna? I guess later on,
you're SEELE. You're supposed to be some of the most intelligent minds. How do you not know to this point by now that when you're like, you can't come back now, Gendo, like to the boys' club? And you're just like, How did this point do you not know Gendo is like a double crossing you guys?
Well, the thing is, they do know, and they've talked about it for episodes and episodes and episodes, and they're like, should we trust him? But they why do they keep doing it?
Exactly. They're like, I'm convinced was the biggest idiots in this entire universe.
Yeah, they seem smart at first because they catch on really quick.
Yeah,
and they're like, and it's like, oh, okay, these guys are on it. They're even a step ahead of Gendo, and then they keep him around. So it's like, oh, I guess not.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be one thing if they didn't know and Gendo like pulled some ultimate trick, but then that would just make Gendo seem smarter. It wouldn't make them seem dumber. But the fact that they know about it and don't do anything makes them seem like fucking idiots.
Yeah, it really does.
They're essentially controlling the entire world. Like, they mentioned at some points in Evangelion that SEELE kind of secretly oversees a ton of stuff in the world, not just NERV. And it's these fucking idiots.
Well, even like the fact that what's his face? The guy who died a couple episodes ago.
Kaji?
The fact that Kaji go in, release Fuyutsuke from like their interrogation thing, and then nothing happens to Fuyutsuke ever again. Yeah. It's just like, how much power does he really have? Like, you just come in there, bust a guy out, you can't do anything because you're a bunch of bricks.
And then, well, like, I do kind of wonder if maybe they had let that happen.
Yeah, that's true. It's you. I mean, I guess you do later with the mass-produced Avas, but for the most part, you really don't see them flex much muscle. It just kind of seems like
I guess it's maybe supposed to be that they've achieved so much, they're just fucking cocky.
That's true.
Confidence is their downfall. They've essentially taken over and are running the world, and they think they're untouchable. They think everybody else is below them, and they're severely underestimating the power of those other people. I think that's probably what it comes down to. But so the angel shows up, and they send Rei off into battle. One's still gonna stay frozen, so they're sending Rei first, and the angel is like a circular halo just floating in the sky. And they say that it keeps fluctuating, and they're not really sure like what the deal with it is. And when Rei launches, we see that it changes form and becomes a little phallic and penetrates Rei.
That's a little sexy there.
I use the word penetrate because that's what they use in the show. It's literally said and represented on screen. So yeah, it's definitely we haven't really gotten into it too much. We talked about it a little bit. There's a lot of like sexual. I don't want to say innuendo, sexual themes, sexual symbolism in the show. And yeah, this is just another...
This whole scene, you have that thing doing that, Rei's reaction to that, and then basically her unit becomes pregnant as well with the whole big swelling of the belly. Yeah. It's just kind of the whole representation of that. What's
interesting to me about it is last week, and again, this is a term that's on the official, or not the official, it's a fan site, but the Eva Geeks wiki. But on last week's, they talk about how Asuka was mind raped. Yep. And in this one, it's kind of a, it almost seems like Rei is like physically raped in a way. It's uninvited. It's not, it's not consensual that she's penetrated by this beam of light. And it definitely seems like, we've kind of seen two like violations of different parts of these people. Asuka had her mind completely violated, and now Rei is having her physical form. And some of her minds too. but you know, physically we see the angel or the Ava being like not absorbed, fused, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the angel again starts to fuse with her, and we actually see the angel appear inside of Rey's mind in her form to try to communicate with her. So the same thing as what I think happened with Asuka. The angel is trying to communicate by taking a familiar form, the form of the person, and which I assume the angel. I don't know if maybe they think that that's not weird. It would be weird if I started talking to my like if I appeared in front of me and started talking to me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that as a form of communication. But the angel starts talking about how like Rey. I don't remember who starts it, but Rey starts accusing the angel of like being lonely. Like, you know, you're all on your own. All of your other kind is separate. Are you jealous of us as humans that we all are together?
So that's Rey saying that?
Rey says that at first, and then the
Okay.
angel responds with that's you. Like, this isn't verbatim, but yeah, essentially Rey calls the angel out for being lonely, and the angel's like, you're the lonely one. You say you live with all these people, but like you're the one who's like one of a kind and like doesn't have anybody else. And then Rey starts crying because like it's hit her, like she has that emotion of loneliness. You know, and this is a big moment for Rey because, you know, we've seen some emotions with Rey throughout the show, but kind of sorrow or despair is a new one, and loneliness in general, like those are new ones. And it's just interesting. Yeah, we get that last little bit of character kind of development here. Then since Rey has now been more compromised, the angel starts to really take over her. And out of the back of Unit Zero, a giant growth. I believe on the wiki, the Ava Geeks wiki, it was referred to as the Tower of Angels.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Which sounds like some bullshit fan name. It doesn't sound like
really
any official thing. But yeah, it essentially looks like the past angels. And I didn't really... I guess this makes sense. On the wiki, they said that possibly it's trying to resurrect its dead comrades, the other angels, so that it won't be lonely anymore. Which I guess makes sense, but again, I feel like when Rey called the angel lonely, I don't know if that was accurate. I really do believe that she was, you know, when the angel says, like, no, you're the lonely one, I think that that's more how that's supposed to go. I don't know if the angel is actually lonely. I think that might have been a incorrectly perceived thing from Rey.
Yeah.
But I guess it makes sense. It seems weird that it would try to resurrect the other angels.
I mean, I guess resurrecting makes sense in a way for if they're trying to take over as a population, I guess. But doing it because it's lonely doesn't seem like very angel-esque.
Yeah, and if you were going to take over as a population, like, this isn't the way to do it. Like,
no.
The angels already know what they need to do, and that's not it.
Exactly.
So, I don't know, but I guess on the other hand, I don't have an alternative explanation for why that appears. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Upon seeing the back growth, Gendo immediately is like, hey, we need to get Unit 1 out there. Shit's fucked. And that's verbatim, he says that. And then, I watched the Spanish dub, and he says that in the Spanish dub.
Oh, he does? Shit.
Yeah, he says, hey, get Shinji. Shit's fucked.
I hear that's the true dub.
Yeah, it's actually, Ano, the joke's fucking over. Let's move on. So they launch Unit 1, and the angel immediately tries to go for it and fuse with Unit 1 as well. And when it does, rather than being like phallic and penetrating Rey the way it did, it actually takes on the form of Rey and tries to be more gentle and caressing.
Yeah.
Which Shinji, immediately is like, fuck this, and refuses it. That one's not verbatim. But it's interesting the different approach that the angel takes to the two of them, I think. But anyway, so Rey sees this happening and is like, she kind of realizes, I think, her true affection for Shinji in the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Because of the fact that the angel is taking on that form and trying to use that, manipulate that. And so Rey decides, like, to end this and to protect Shinji. And reverses her AT field or something like that and kind of absorbs the angel back into her. And yeah, then this is the point where her belly all swells up and she gets pregnant with an angel baby.
Yep.
obviously it's meant to be symbolic. She was talking about how, well, again, she was penetrated earlier, and now that the angel has like gone inside of her, it's taken on this form. And also, there's obviously the theme of she wanted to be with Shinji in a physical way and like be connected with him. And this kind of even harkens back to when Shinji, I don't remember what episode, a long time ago, when Shinji says like Rei's like a mother. And, at the time that struck Rei as weird, but I think that she's kind of sat on that idea and maybe thought about that as an idea. Mm-hmm. And, this is almost a weird representation of it, though it's twisted and fucked up. But, and then, for just a moment, the shape of Unit Zero changes into a kind of a big, what's the term? White light. There's a term for it. When something's like a big white light, and I know the word, but I can't fucking think of it. Shit. Big ray.
Big light ray.
And then it explodes. Yeah, I think that's that scene. Anything else?
Mm-hmm. No,
ever on that scene? I don't know.
Pretty much it.
Oh shit! Yeah, there is. Right before it explodes, Rei actually sees a flash of Gendo.
Right, yeah.
Not Shinji, but Gendo, without glasses and smiling. And this seems to be maybe from when Gendo had saved Rei. But it's interesting that, even though she's thought all about Shinji and wants to be with Shinji, her final flash is not of Shinji. It is of Gendo. I don't really know what to think about that, but I just think that's really interesting that it's not Shinji.
Maybe it's part of, like, what's... Shinji's mom kind of clone genes coming in, or kind of like a final flash, like
maybe
she would have coming from. I don't know. It's really weird.
Or maybe like some of what she felt for Shinji was really just a big extension of what she felt for Gendo. But because there's a very different, not just age gap, but place in society and in.
There's this like a real weird connection with all that going on.
That's
like
true.
It's kind of Shinji's mom, but also she's Shinji's age like Shinji, but then also likes Gendo because it's like she's kind of like.
Yeah,
Shinji's mom.
It's weird.
It's a weird circle.
Yeah, but then she blows up. So we see a little bit of SEELE talking, and they say that there's one angel left, and there's a lot of like kind of brooding from SEELE about like, oh, we're almost to the end of our scheme. They do a lot of that talking throughout this episode, but they talk about how they need another pawn. And this is actually something I feel like I might have missed I'm sure I took note of this before, but I guess I forgot about this detail that they actually talk about how they're going to get another pawn, and then they obviously it's Ritsuko, and because that's why Ritsuko kills all the Reis at the end is SEELE, and this is very obvious I'm sure to everybody else, but I don't know, I guess I hadn't made this connection yet that SEELE talks about wanting this pawn, and then they get Ritsuko to do it because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, okay, I'm confused about that part. A little bit.
Okay.
So, they want to question... Is it the third child they want to question?
Okay, so here's how I think it works. And this is
the first child, sorry.
Yeah, this is my reading of it. So, Gendo tells SEELE that Rei's dead.
Right.
Straight up. He doesn't tell them that Rei 3 is now arrived. They just say Rei's dead, there's no more Rei. So, I think SEELE calls bullshit on that and knows that, like, there's going to be another Rei, like Rei 3, because they understand how Rei works. And so I think... So they decide they need another pawn. They decide it's going to be Ritsuko because they realized her connection with Gendo and kind of how it affects... like, how it worked with her mom and everything. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, she's the perfect one. She can kind of do our bidding. We're going to turn her against Gendo. And so they call her in. And then I think that's when they tell her, we wanted to talk to Rei, but Gendo sent you instead. I don't think they actually asked to talk to Rei.
Okay.
I think that's just their manipulation because they know that's what they need to say to get Ritsuko to turn against Gendo, and it works. Because what they're telling her is, we asked for a doll, and he sent you instead. Like, you're even worse than this doll. I guess it's possible that they actually asked Gendo, but I actually don't believe they probably did. Because, again, Gendo's stance, he even said earlier, if they ask, we're going to tell them that Rei is still dead. So I don't think... If they would have said, hey, can we talk to Rei? Gendo would have said, no, she's dead. I think they made that up to tell Ritsuko.
Which also makes me wonder, what did they make her do that made her so offended? And also, why was she naked?
I think it was just an attempt to, like, shame her and I don't know. I mean, maybe, SEELE, a bunch of old guys, a bunch of old white dudes in power. You got this attractive little blonde girl. You always been wanting to see her naked. You realize, hey, we're SEELE, we can do whatever we want. They decide to see her naked. I don't know.
She doesn't feel violated at first because she realizes she has to do that, and then she does when she realizes it could have been Ray and not her.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that? Okay.
I guess, yeah.
I don't know. I'm so confused about that scene. What you said makes sense, but I'm also confused about why she's naked and why she gets pissed off.
Yeah. I think SEELE's just a bunch of nasty old perverts. Yep. Dirty old men.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I guess really, though, it's probably just more to, like, fuck with her mind. Like, make her, they're just trying to fuck with her and turn her against Gendo. So anything they can do, I guess, whatever. So, then we go to a scene of Shinji laying around listening to music again, trying to cope with the death of Rei too. And Misato comes in and tries to talk to him. This is an interesting scene. This is another one of those I think I'm an idiot kind of scenes. And maybe this just you watched the dub.
Mm-hmm.
How does the conversation kind of play out in the dub, just generally?
How does it play out for you? And I'll say if it's different or similar, I guess.
Okay, so every other time I've watched the scene, I knew Misato was coming in, obviously trying to comfort Shinji, and I know she tries to physically touch his hand and he moves it away. I always knew that. I don't remember the dub being, like, so sexually suggestive. I never got the impression watching the dub, since I've only ever watched the dub before, that she came in here to try to bang Shinji. But watching the sub, I definitely got the impression...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not how it plays out at all in the dub.
Okay, yeah.
And the dub, he's just listening to music and just basically being a typical emo kid. It's like, life is so pointless, why does it suck? She tries to comfort him, and he's just like, no, leave me alone.
Okay, that's what I thought. Like, she just grabs his hand, and he's just like, no, don't touch me. Because I should have written down the exact lines.
And then she says, like, I think she says this in the sub too. Maybe I'm getting the sub in Doku. But first she says, is he turning me away because I'm a woman, or is he turning me away because he just doesn't want to be with any, like he can't connect with anybody?
Yeah.
Which I thought was really weird to say that when he turned away. It's like, I don't think he turned away because you're a woman, but if there's like a sexual thing to it, then maybe that does make sense.
Yeah, there's definitely, it definitely seems much more sexual in the sub. I can't remember the exact line. I should have wrote it down, but there's a couple things. Yeah, she says something about, like, is he afraid of being with a woman or something like that?
Yeah.
And, I mean, this is kind of Misato's character. Like, she doesn't really know how to communicate with people.
Yeah.
Except by fucking. I mean, that's like her, honestly, that's her language. That's how, her relationship with Kaji was. Even when shit hit the fan and things were really serious, she still, connected with him emotionally through sex. We see that in the scene where Kaji gives her the pill that we see later in this episode, or the chip that's in the pill. I mean, that's a whole scene of sex. Like, that's how they handle things is through sexual contact. They don't, Misato doesn't really know how to communicate other than that. That's how she comforts, and that's how she communicates.
I just watched the sub bit, and I mean, at first I didn't get that, but it's her comments afterwards. She says, like,
yeah,
this is sorry, Shinji, this is all I can do for you now.
Yes, that's it.
Yes, and she grabs his hand and he turns away. And then she just says, I don't get it. He must be feeling lonely. Is he afraid of a woman? So I can totally see where if you're reading all that, it does really sound like she was planning a thing. It was like, well, obviously he must be feeling lonely.
Well, and then afterwards, she walks out. She says a line to some... I don't remember what it is. But she goes... I guess she goes to try to bang Pin Pin next or something. She goes into the next room and tries to talk to Pin Pin, and he turns away too. And she says something about, man, I guess I'm the one who just needs somebody to be with.
Yeah. She also says he must be afraid of being intimate with people. That also pretty much insinuates.
Okay, yeah.
Then she goes to try banging Pin Pin, yeah.
Well, who wouldn't want to do that?
When I first, the way they have that shot, by the way, I totally thought Pin Pin was dead. I was like, shit, is he put on Pin Pin's dead?
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously Shinji, I just wonder how Misato thought this would have played out. Even if, again, I know that this is how she tries to cheer people up and try to communicate with people, but, like, Shinji already has a lot of issues being, close with people just emotionally.
Yeah. And
now he's dealing with the death of somebody that he was clearly somewhat attracted to and clearly had a deep connection to. And Misato thinks that, like, she can walk in, offer him sex, and not only will he accept it, which would be completely out of character for him, but it would actually help him.
Even
I know that's
it.
Misato's train of thought, but I can't believe that she would think that would help, or that he would even accept it.
Exactly, because even if he did accept it, there's no way that would have turned out good afterwards. It would have been a mess. It just would not worked out.
Yeah. Well, it would have been a literal mess. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, and like I feel like several times when you really think about it, she does try to bang Shinji in a weird way several times.
Yeah.
There's always kind of started off as that kind of like a jokey like, two people living together up to sex, they're gonna bang. But then it kind of really does kind of come.
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely at the beginning it's just a joke, but I think now that shit's hit the fan, again, this is how she knows to deal with people. Like, this is how she does it, and especially when she feels already close to them. She obviously feels very close to Shinji. I'm sure she understands that he has some sort of attraction to her. Being a 14-year-old boy, you're attracted to pretty much any girl that is coming your way, especially if you are very close to them, and. Yeah, I don't know. I just can't imagine like her thinking that this was gonna work.
I think she's just like, man, Shinji is a real whiny bitch. He sucks all the stuff. This fucker just needs to get laid.
Yeah, I guess so.
She's just like, he needs to get laid.
Yeah.
But she should have known that Shinji's gay, and he only has feelings for Kaoru.
Well, yeah, of course. Oh man, I can't wait to get to all the Shinji's gay stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. I was going to go into a big rant about how I hate how people always say that Shinji's gay because of that episode, because I don't think that's the emphasis of that episode at all.
It's
but I guess
a weird thing of people being like, they can't understand, like, that's supposed to represent Shinji's only had one true real friend, and that's supposed to be him.
Well, I think it's even more than that. Like, it's not meant to be gay, but Kaoru does say, I love you, Shinji, and that's the only time I think Shinji's ever heard those words in his life, except maybe from his mom.
And it's kind of like the thing of, like, that is Kaoru's entire point, is to make Shinji... It's like the angels finally realize that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Like, they finally recognize Shinji's weakness.
Yeah, definitely. They tried mind rape, they tried physical rape, and now they realize, like, hey, to really connect with a person, we need to make this kind of connection with them. And yeah, Kaoru goes in and says, like, just complete unconditional, not I'm gay and I'm trying to bang you. It's just unconditional, like, acceptance of you and love and tolerance for you. And to Shinji, that's everything he's ever wanted.
Yeah.
And so, of course, the idea of that is very appealing and wanted. And yeah, I guess we should save some of that.
I was going to say we should definitely save some next week. Yeah,
but
we'll go into it next week.
Yeah, I guess I could kind of see, you know, in this episode Misato tries to bang him, he says no, and the next episode a guy comes along and says I love you, and he's like hell yeah.
Yeah, but then
I guess I get it, but I just feel like if that's what you think, you're oversimplifying things so much. If this was like, I don't know, The Walking Dead, sure, it's probably that simple. But this is Evangelion, and it's kind of smarter than most shows, so I think by now you should know that it's never, like, just that. I don't know.
He also jerks off to Asuka, so I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't jerk off to Kaoru. He jerks off to Asuka. Spoilers.
Oh, shit.
Shit.
That's how Third Impact happens.
Yeah. Well, that's another impact. Man, where the fuck? What are we talking about?
So then basically we run into seeing Ray's all of a sudden in the hospital.
Oh yeah, Ray 3. Ray is back. We don't know it's Ray 3 yet. They just get a call and Ray's alive. So they
then it immediately cuts to like Ray 3 though.
Yeah, but the audience doesn't know that at the time.
Oh, right.
If you're watching for the first time, obviously, you know, of course on a rewatch, you know. But you know, the first time watcher, you'd be like, oh, okay, I guess Ray somehow survived, and then this Ray seems very mysterious and is like, doesn't seem to recall the events. And
I guess I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Because they tell you, like, on the title cards, Ray 2, Ray 3. Like, you get that.
Yeah. Well, I remember the first time I watched the show, I always just thought, okay, first episode about Ray, second episode about Ray, third episode about Ray. Yeah, I didn't think they meant that these were different entities.
Right.
Which I think was their intention because, I mean, the Ray 1 and Ray 2 episodes are so long ago. And again, on a rewatch, you know what that means, but if you're first time watching, that seems like it could have been a spoiler.
Yeah.
So I think they were just hoping people would be like, oh, you know, they won't get what that means. But you know, I guess maybe because there is the episode where we see Ray 1 die, episode 21. So I guess maybe people are, you know, on a first watch, you might have caught on immediately the Rei 2 did die. But I think I didn't. I think I was fooled at first when they saw Rei again. I was like, oh, I guess she's alive. And then she says, I think I might be the third one. Which, of course...
yeah, she said... That's one that I think's weird, is because... I guess the other one was so young, it might be different. But at least based off the rebuild, in a sense, this Rei definitely seems more self-aware than the other one.
Yeah, definitely. This Rei is interesting. Rei 3 is interesting. Because she appears to have no memories or no connection with the previous Rei. But at the same time, she obviously does, because she recalls certain things. She's aware of the fact that she is a third one. She seems to have gained the knowledge somehow from Rei 2. And also just because, like, you know, she sees the glasses, Gendo's glasses, and immediately has a reaction to them, even though she says that she's never seen them before, because Rei 3 supposedly doesn't have any of the memories of Rei 2, so why would she have an emotional reaction to these? And then also because, of course, in End of Evangelion, she decides to go give Shinji the power to shape Third Impact. And that, if Rei 3 truly didn't have any of the feelings from Rei 2, I don't think that would have happened. So somehow, I don't know if maybe there was some kind of, like, when they, you know, had Rei in the tube thing, the dummy plug tube thing that she always floats in, I don't know if maybe somehow memories got into her from there. Like, it seems like LCL, so maybe, like, some of Rei 2's stuff was, like, still floating around in there. I don't know, but, like...
And, like, not to try and draw too much connection between the rebuild and this either, but it just seems weird because when they do the next Rei for that one, it just seems like the method's entirely different because she doesn't have those memories.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, if anybody's seen the rebuilds in 3.0, spoilers if you haven't, I guess, but in 3.0, because the one Rei disappears at the end of 2.0, presumably is dead, but disappears into Unit 1, and they're not able to recover her. So then when they see the new Rei, which we assume is Rei 3, but could be any number, really, it's not, it doesn't seem to have any of that from the last Rei at all. So yeah, it's definitely different. And I don't totally understand how it works, but somehow some of what Rei 2 felt for Shinji is left over in Rei 3. And also it seems like, again, Rei 2 kind of had a connection, I guess a thing for Gendo. And it almost seems like Rei 3 still remembers that, but almost despises it now.
Yeah.
Because she tries to crush the glasses at first, and then eventually, you know, she says, like, hey, fuck you, Gendo, I'm giving this to Shinji. So it seems like she's kind of, like, has those leftover feelings for Gendo, but has kind of changed the dynamic of those feelings from love to hate. Anyways, so then we go to Ritsuko. This is the scene we already talked about, where she's naked and stuff. So we go to Misato, and she has opened up the pill Kaji gave her and found the chip inside, and is now using it to try to find out information stored on it as much as she can. And she says she's over listening to the phone call messages from him. She's gonna, you know, now that she has this, she realizes, like, this was Kaji's ultimate, like, this was his life, essentially. Like, the last part of his life was completely dedicated to this. Essentially, she's holding his last wishes in her hand. And she says, like, rather than, like, listening to him over and over and feeling sad that he's gone, I will take his last desire and, like, move forward with them. Which I guess we don't really see pan out. But, you know, as a character, I think that's how she kind of helps to cope with what she's dealing with. Also, as a character thing, that's probably, you know, earlier she mentioned that, like, she really just wanted someone to be with. Again, that's how, that's how, not only does she connect with other people, but that's how she gets through hard times. And so somewhat of her going to initiate sex with Shinji was for Shinji, but a lot of it was for her to help her cope with, she's still dealing with Kaji's death.
Right.
And now she's finally admitting, like, I think I can be over it. I think I can move forward. I don't think I need to bang a 14-year-old.
Probably a good idea.
Probably a good idea. I don't know how laws work in Tokyo 3 after the apocalypse, but it's probably a bad idea to bang a 14-year-old. So then Ritsuko calls Shinji and says, hey, there's no security watching you. Come on over. This time not for sex. This adult's not offering him sex. But man, it does seem like Shinji gets a lot of attention in this episode. Yeah. So, man, I'm over talking about this episode. I need to get some energy and power through it. I hope, man, I feel bad for anyone listening because I feel like I got bored talking about this episode. So I hope no one's bored listening.
Do you want me to take over?
I don't know. We're almost through it.
Okay.
They go down to the lab, and they see, the lab is very reminiscent of Rei's room, as Shinji points out. And Ritsuko says, well, yeah, this is where Rei was born. I'm going to talk really excited about the next part, just to cope with me sounding bored. Because now I feel bad that I said that. So, they go on forward, and they find a massive Eva graveyard.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy because what's up with this? And there's like it's a big like crucifix on the ground, and there's like tons of bones and skulls and shit inside of it.
Crazy.
And I think it's Misato, and she's like, whoa, this is like an Eva graveyard. And Ritsuko's like, nah, dude, this is a dumping ground.
Oh, no,
and
she didn't.
This is where Shinji watched his mom get fucking killed. And Shinji's like, oh, shit. And then they go to the dummy plug core. This is just like the fucking grand tour of secret shit at NERV. And they go to the dummy plug core, and this is the first time Shinji and Misato are seeing it. And then Ritsuko's like, yo, you thought this core looked weird. Check out the fucking walls. And she turns on the lights, and there's a bunch of rays floating around. And they're all smiling and shit, and they're fucking naked.
Oh,
and,
cool.
There's just a fucking bunch of naked dummies. And Ritsuko's like, she says, humans founded God and tried to obtain it. Humanity was punished, and God vanished. And this is the part that I don't remember in the fucking dub, but it confuses the shit out of me now.
Do it.
Then she says, man tried to resurrect God and created Adam. Everything that I believed was that Adam was already there, and they discovered Adam.
Yeah,
but apparently they created Adam, so I don't know.
Do they mean they created... I think they mean they created Adam's image. I don't think they meant they created Adam.
Okay, yeah, let's go with that, because otherwise I've been an idiot for a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, they created Adam's image into Eva. And then Ritsuko's like, and now that I've told you everything, watch as I murder these naked dolls. And she pushes a button, which is apparently make the doll explode button.
Who installed that button?
What happens if you're like trying to turn on the TV and you push that one by mistake?
I mean, like, what was the...
Damn it, wrong remote.
Was that put, like, just in case, like, what if they all decide to revolt against us? We'll have the self-destruct button. Like,
yeah, I don't understand. I assume how the button works is... And this is completely me guessing, so I could totally be wrong. The rays are floating in the LCL, and I assume that when she pushes the button, it, like, ups the pressure in the LCL. And, when something is, like, exposed to extreme pressure, or maybe they're already exposed, I don't know. Somehow it fucking disintegrates them.
Because, like, well, they don't, like, explode or anything. They just, like, chunk them.
They break apart and kind of start to disintegrate, which, I was going to say it's because maybe she turned the pressure up, but actually the pressure would cause an implosion.
Yeah, it would cause an implosion.
It's almost more like what happens if they had already been living in extreme pressure. Because what happens... Here's some science for you guys, and I think this is right. Let's assume it's right, because it'll sound smart. And if it's wrong and someone points it out, it'll sound dumb. So if I'm wrong, don't point it out. Fish that live really low in the ocean live in extreme pressure because of the weight of all the water above them. So their bodies are extremely resilient to that, like, extreme pressure. If those fish are brought up very far, like if somebody brings them up, or if they happen to swim that far up, they literally break apart. Because their body is used to so much, like, pushing down on them, so much weight. Mm-hmm. If that weight is gone, and they're just, like, on the surface of the water, their bodies just fucking break apart. So it almost seems like that's what's happening here.
That makes sense.
So maybe something like that. And one thing that's interesting about the scene is as all of the vessels are destroyed, they fucking laugh. That's fucking creepy.
Yep.
I mean, that's something, like, out of a fucking, like, horror game or horror movie.
That's some Shining shit, dude.
Yeah. I was thinking, yeah, it's fucking weird. And then Ritsuko is like, all right, I did my thing. Kill me. And Misato's like, nah. The end.
To be continued.
Okay, so that's the episode.
We do find out Gendo was banging Ritsuko, but we already knew that.
Yeah, I think we already got that impression. So yeah, obviously, SEELE had kind of planned for Ritsuko to kind of go do all this shit, or at least somewhat. And, because I think they were not, Okay, so the difference between the on-air version and the director's cut version, again, there's not a lot. Basically, there's a couple scenes that are extended, like the angel thing is a little extended, and there's a couple shots that weren't in there. But other than that, there's no, like, full scenes, I believe, that weren't in the original version, the on-air version. There's just a couple of scenes that are slightly extended. But what I thought was interesting is there's less detail in some of the animation. So it's the same scenes, but some of the scenes are apparently less detailed. And this is just a weird one. When they go to see that big dummy plug thing, apparently it's smaller in the on-air version.
Yeah, and the tanks doesn't have as many rays or something in it. The graveyard,
the graveyard doesn't have as many bodies.
And neither does the Ray tank. The rank has less bodies as well.
Right. So I guess maybe they were rushing to get this one out on air or something. And when the director's cut, they were like, hey, let's fix a couple of those little blemishes that we didn't get to. I guess. I don't know. I really like this episode. I think this episode's really good. I don't know why I got so bored talking about it.
But we did go off on several tangents. Maybe that's...
Yeah, I guess that's true. We went on a lot of tangents, and we also are going to record another analysis right after this. So my mind's kind of on that already. So I think I'm a little distracted. Also, I'm hungry, so that doesn't help.
Ate before.
Yeah, I should have done that. So that's episode 23. Great episode. Really cool stuff with Ray. Ray 2 fucking dies in this episode. It's almost like it's overshadowed because there's so much other shit.
It really is, but yeah.
But I mean, a character.
The Ray you know and love is
dead.
Gone.
Yeah, and that's pretty crazy. Yeah, if we missed anything, let us know. If we're idiots, let us know. You can comment on our YouTube stuff, email us. All that information is in the description of the YouTube video. We are, as I said, recording a special look at the new Ava short film that just came out, Another Impact. Unless you're listening to this in like 2016, and then it's been out for a while. But if you're listening to this, now as it's coming out, check out Other Thing if you haven't. And is that it? We mentioned we're doing a special episode soon. Where we talk about the series as a whole, not the rebuilds, just the original series and End of Evangelion. We will be recording that after we finish all of those on our own, and then we will do a grand episode to discuss all of that as a whole. And we may get into the rebuild stuff a little bit. I don't want to say we can't. I'm not going to tell everybody you can't talk about that, But mostly we're going to try to focus on the show.
I've had your A game.
Yes, bring your A game. Anybody's welcome. We've had several people, since we mentioned it last week, asked to be on it, and that's great. You're more than welcome. However, a few of you said, hey, I want to be on this, and I replied to you and said, sure, shoot me an email or give me your information, and you didn't. So, I'd love to have you on, but if you don't respond, I can't have you on. So please, email me at thedavidmayer@gmail.com. If you need to spell that, it's in the YouTube description for this video. Or any of our Ava videos, actually. And that way, it's just to get scheduling, because, if we have multiple people, obviously we need to find a time where we can try to get everybody on, or as many people as we can get on. Due to scheduling, we might miss out on people. But honestly, if a ton of people end up wanting to do this, we could do more than one. It just depends. Because we don't want to get too many in one episode to the point where people don't feel like they get to talk.
Right.
But yeah, so please, it's the best if you email me or if you message me on YouTube through the Wet Rats YouTube. That works as well too, as long as you check your messages and reply. If you don't check your YouTube messages, please don't message me on YouTube if you're not going to reply when I reply. But yeah, I mean, really, I know it sounds like a bit bitter there, but we really want to have you on. So please reply so we can.
Do it.
Also, again, it's still a little ways out because we still got to go through 24, 25, 26, and then End of Evangelion. And then, after the show, we're going to probably get a couple weeks before we do the End of Ava one. And then we'll probably do a couple more weeks after that before we are going to do the next one, the one I'm talking about now. So you've still got at least a month, almost 2 months probably, before you need to really worry about it. But the sooner we start scheduling it, the better. The one thing I will say, again, anybody's welcome. If you don't feel like you have a lot to say about Ava, that's totally fine. If you have anything at all you want to offer, you don't have to talk about theories if you don't want. If you don't have any great idea for theories, if you just want to talk about the things you like about the show, that's great. That's fine. Feel free to come on. Anybody's welcome. But please get a decent microphone if you don't have one. Get a good mic set up. Do a little bit of testing. the way we'll probably have to record this is different than how we record normal episodes. Me and Dylan usually record our audio separately in different tracks and then merge it later. But because we're going to have a ton of people on, all the audio will be recorded into one single track, which doesn't allow me to mix anybody's audio in. So everybody needs to have it doesn't have to be like fucking incredible. We don't have great mics.
We're using Rock Bands.
We're both. Are you still using your Rock Band thing?
Yeah.
We're both using Rock Band microphones plugged into our computers.
To be more specific, it's that Rapstar game.
Oh, Def Jam Rapstar.
Def Jam Rapstar.
Fucking great game.
Yeah.
That's $5 on Amazon if anybody's interested.
So if you need a good mic.
Yeah, if you need a good mic, pick up Def Jam Rapstar. So you don't have to go out and get an expensive one, but don't use your onboard mic for your computer. Is basically it, because you're gonna get the sounds of your computer running. As long as you do a little bit of audio testing, you're more than welcome to join us.
Also, don't come on here and shit on people's opinions too.
Oh yeah,
Don't
be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole.
I'm not worried about that. I think
I'm not either. Just a forewarning.
Everybody that I've seen comment on our stuff is very nice and inviting.
Although
I will say, and this isn't a criticism, so nobody take this wrong, I don't ever see really anybody else. A lot of people talk to me or the Wet Rats in general about their opinions. I don't ever see those people cross communicating.
No,
I don't really ever see like a fan like comment and say like I have all these ideas, and another fan comment and discuss it, and that's totally fine. I'm not saying you have to go do that, but I'm just saying we haven't really seen how our fans interact with each other.
No, and all the comments I've seen, none of them are like stupid or retarded at all. I like all of them, so
yeah,
please come on and let's talk more about it.
Yeah, but don't come on and think I'm gonna be an asshole. It'll be real funny. Again, we don't think anyone's gonna do that. We're not calling anybody out.
We definitely don't think so.
But if anybody would happen to get that idea, obviously you'll be quickly asked to leave, and that would be embarrassing for you because we probably won't cut it out. We'll probably leave it in.
We absolutely will not cut it out.
Yeah. So and then we'll probably spend the rest of the podcast talking bad about you. So I would recommend, I don't want to say that actually because I don't want to put pressure on people. But, as long as you're not... you'd have to be pretty bad for it to get kicked off. You'd have to be legitimately saying, like, you're a fucking idiot to other people on there. Yeah. So
and don't worry about being an idiot. You've listened to us talk about 23 episodes now of us being retarded, so...
Yeah. And let me clarify. It's totally fine to come on and disagree with other people's opinions.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
It's totally fine to hear somebody else's opinion and go, I don't think so. That doesn't sound right to me. Because we're going to be doing a lot of that.
Yes.
It's just not okay to call someone else a fucking idiot and tell them how stupid they are for having an opinion. You can disagree with it. You can tell them that you think they're wrong, as long as you do it in a civil way. Mm-hmm. I think they get the point by now.
Yeah, I was going to say, we talked about this for way too long.
Yeah, man. Evangelion episode 23. Next week, Evangelion episode 24. Director's Cut. Karu's here. I don't remember the episode title.
It is, you just said it, Karu's here.
Karu's here. And we'll see you then.